I was recently asked if I could make a video identifying, reforging, and corrupting Grand Regalias in Path of Exile 2, and so today that is exactly what we're going to be doing. Now, before I get too far into this video, I do want to state that I would not recommend anyone in the league to try and do this because personally I'm expecting to lose money from this. Grand Regalias are just way too expensive and they're just not that good, and I'll get into all the reasons why, but essentially you'll notice here I have all these unidentified Regalias. I paid around 1 divine each for these, and then the identified Regalias I paid anywhere from 1 to 5 chaos for. So you can actually reforge these, so it comes out to be a lot cheaper to buy these already identified and to reforge them to buy them unidentified. But with that being said, I did buy all of the ones on the market, so pretty much all of the remaining Regalias are 2 divines each. Now, on the off chance that you do happen to get a good Regalia, and there are 4 really good Regalias that you can get, such as Chaos Res, All Res, Spirit. You can also get Chaos Res, Global Defense Spirit, or my bad, actually All Res, Global Defense Spirit. This one is not worth that much at all because the builds that use Global Defenses use Chaos Inoculation, and so Chaos Res is actually not good. This one's pretty worthless. But you can get these Regalias here, which as you can see, these sell even if the corruption is bad for around 9 or 10 divines. You can get Chaos Res, All Res, Spirit. You can get Chaos Res, All Res, Global Defenses. You can get Chaos Res, All Res, All Attributes, and you can also get All Res, Global Defenses, Spirit. All of those Regalias, uncorrupted, are worth around 8 to 12 divines. Corrupted, they're worth about 50 divines. Some of them will price check for 100 or 200 divines. So for example, I'll log into my other character here. But just to show you guys, I did buy these all. I just bought most of these for 1 divine. I did pay 18 chaos for some of the unidentified Regalias. But if we come up here, I was buying identified ones for 4 chaos. I did buy, 1 or 2 for 10 exalted. I did have one guy here who I messaged. I tried to buy a bunch that he had listed for 5 chaos, and then all of a sudden he told me 1 divine each. So yeah, but I did buy a couple from him. But just to show you guys, I have sold a few Regalias this league. I'll try to put some pictures up on the screen. For the most I've gotten for a Regalia was 68 divines. And I'm going to go into why Regalias are just not very profitable at all. First of all, they're not that good of an item. They don't have enough evasion and energy shield on them to begin with. You're just better off most of the time getting a very high evasion energy shield body piece. The only way to actually utilize the Grand Regalia is to go into Subterfuge Mask. Over here, not sure exactly where it's at, but Subterfuge Mask requires you to have a really, really good helmet to gain extra evasion based on energy shield from your helmet, and then you also need a really, really good pair of boots, right? So I'll go into my other character here, Fearless Astra, which was the Astramentus build I did. Now, unfortunately, they just changed the drop rates of a bunch of uniques and items, and so this build went from being worth around a mirror to being maybe worth 100 divines, if even, but just to show you guys, we do have, this is one of the Regalias that I corrupted myself. We'll close out a PoE2 overlay here, but this is all attributes, Chaos Res, All Res. I'm pretty sure these price check for, yeah, there's none on the market right now. You really want this increased armor, evasion, and energy shield roll to be high because, like I said, they just don't have that much evasion or energy shield on them to begin with. I have this one socketed with extra armor, evasion, and energy shield, and this armor is actually pretty pointless. Like, I have 800 armor on this piece right here, and as you can see right here, it's only 15% physical damage reduction, which is just not very good at all. So this item has a lot of potential. I would definitely recommend that if GGG wanted to improve this item, they could remove the potential possibility of it rolling life regen. So if I come in here, you can see these can roll with a lot of bad modifiers such as maximum life, stun threshold, life regen. I would definitely remove maximum life and maximum mana are fine to have as bad modifiers that could potentially roll. Obviously, you don't want every Regalia that comes in the game to be amazing, but I would definitely recommend GGG to remove the possibility of these rolling stun threshold, life regen for sure, because they're just absolutely pointless, as well as this hits against you have reduced critical damage bonus. Those are just completely dead mods. Almost any Regalia that rolls with those is worthless, even if it has Chaos Res and All Res. So yeah, like I said, Regalias, they're just so hard to get a good one to begin with because there's so many bad modifiers you can get. When you do get a good one, you need to divine it to be very, very well rolled. So this one, for example, I spent about 45 divines divining this one just to get this outcome. I did have one of these that rolled perfectly, but when I corrupted it, it bricked. But yeah, as you can see here, 10% chaos res, 7% all res, all attributes. So the potential possibility of rolling this at a max roll is, it's between 1 and 4, 1 and 3, and 1 and 3. So 3 times 3 times 4 is 36. And then you also want the armor, evasion, and energy shield preferably to be at least 250%. So it's on average about 70 divines just to divine one of these to have decent rolls. And like I said, the most that I've ever sold one of these Regalias for was 68 divines. I made this one myself, and I had the Regalias that I had listed for a very, very long time. So if we price check this one, it does price check for a minimum of 80, but as you can see, these ones that are listed for 80 have been up for a few days. All these that were listed just a few hours ago, I guarantee you they won't sell. All the expensive ones have been listed for several days, weeks even, and they won't sell, which is sort of the theme with Regalias. Like I said, it's just not that good of a piece of gear. It has a lot of potential, it provides a lot of value, but at the cost of survivability, which a lot of people who are trying to buy these pieces of gear just don't necessarily want. Pretty much the only people who actually reliably use this gear are people trying to pump up their PoE2 ninja numbers, or also people who are running rarity bot setups and use the 5 sockets for rarity gems. But with that being said, I will just show you guys this build. For example, has 5300 life, 1200 life, 5300 energy shield, 60% evasion, 15% armor. I get one shot on this build all the time, even on like tier 14 maps. It's really just not that great of a build. I thought it would be a lot better than it was, but it turns out that my blood mage with absolutely no energy shield, 3000 life, and 85% evasion, or 80% with this setup, performs significantly better, right? So like I said, I would really emphasize and recommend absolutely no one try to do this themselves, regardless of whether or not I profit. I'm expecting to lose all my money. Yes, you can make a lot of money on these, but if you're hoping to just identify and re-roll them, like this one, for example, Spirit Global Defenses, I think I have a couple that have like all res global defenses, etc. And like I said, they sell for 1 to 5 chaos. They're just not that good. GGG really needs to put more evasion and energy shield on these and remove some of the bad rolls that you can get. It doesn't need to have as much evasion and energy shield as, let's say, a perfectly rolled itinerant jacket, or a perfectly rolled hawker's jacket or falconer's jacket. Doesn't need to have that much, but it definitely needs to have more than it has right now, because the cost for Regalia build is just extremely expensive. I'm talking hundreds of divines just in boots and a helmet for the potential just to survive, right? Regardless of how much damage you deal, regardless of the value that you get out of it. Now, I'll try to post on the screen as well some of the Regalias that I have sold this league, and we'll kind of go from there. But without further ado, let's just hop straight into this. We're going to go ahead. All these ones that are already identified are all bad. I already looked at all of them. Like I said, I paid around 1 to 5 chaos each for these. Some of them I paid 10 exalted for. Regalias take a long time to sell, so even if you do find a really good one, it's going to take you a long time to sell. If you look at this tab here and you compare it to the other day, I came out with an Arbiter kill video where I had mentioned that I have identified, reforged, and corrupted around 150 Regalias. These were the best outcomes I got. I did get 3 that I sold for at least 50 divines, and I got a bunch that sold for 8 to 12 divines that looked similar to this one. Obviously, without the chaos resistance, it had all resistance instead, but it had bricked. I bricked a lot of these this league. And really the only way, in my opinion, that these can be profitable are if you're killing the Arbiter, and you are killing the Arbiter, and as a result, you are profiting without selling these. So if you're getting a ton of diamonds, a ton of shrine scepters, and these Regalias begin to become profit, is when I would start identifying them, which is what I personally did. Otherwise, it's just not worth the risk. It's not worth the gamble. If you're able to buy these unidentified for, let's say, 10 or 5 chaos, it would be a lot more worth it. Or if you're able to buy identified ones that are non-corrupted for 1 to 5 5 chaos, similar to how I did. But like I said, I bought all the ones on the market. I'm sure there will be more on the market tomorrow or even later tonight. But again, it's not really worth it. But we will identify all of these. We will reforge them. We'll try to divine and corrupt them if they roll well. So yeah, let's get straight into it. So global defense is spirit, life regen, pretty bad because it has life regen on it. This one, life regen, pretty bad. All res, stun threshold, bad. Life regen, all attributes, chaos res, mana, pretty bad. It's really unfortunate because the armor, evasion, and energy shield roll on this one is actually really, really good. Global defenses, all res, hits against you have reduced critical damage bonus. Again, not that amazing. This one probably isn't worth that little. This is probably worth like a divine or two because there are rarity builds that would use this. So if you do happen to buy these for really cheap and you're just looking to resell them, you know, for maybe a divine and make very, very little profit, you could probably do so. As you can see here, 1 divine, 550. There's going to be a lot of these that get posted for just way much more than they're worth. This one's, like I said, it's not terrible, but it's also not really ideal. Like I said, there's only 4 that we're really looking for. This one here is also not that good, so we'll go ahead, we'll throw these in here. We'll keep this one off to the side because it's the best one we've gotten so far. We'll come back in here, we will pull some more Scrolls of Wisdom out. All attributes, life regen, hits against you, that's bad. Spirit, all res, life regen is also pretty bad. This would be good. Like, here's the thing. If you identify a Regalia and it's similar to this and it's rolled perfectly, it can have some value, 5 or 10 divines if the spirit and the all res are perfectly divined. But it is not worth it for me to just divine this and then try to corrupt it. And it's also not really worth anything if I were to just corrupt this also. You know, if we take this off and we just search Grand Regalias that have these stats on them, as you can see, there's similar Regalias exactly like this going for 5 chaos to 10 chaos. So very important. Or actually, I accidentally took the all res off. Let's change this around. Yeah, so 1 divine, 5 divine, 10 divine. But realistically, you're only going to be able to sell this even with the 5th socket perfectly divined for maybe 8 to 12 divines. So really not worth it to invest the divines into trying to divine them. I've learned that myself. I lost a lot of divines doing that. I would only divine these if they are pretty much perfectly rolled. We're going to go through here, and all the rest of these are just absolutely awful. So immediately right off the bat, we are quite a few divines down. We'll throw this one in the bottom down here, and we'll pull these out, and now begins the reforging process. So for those who don't know, you can actually reforge Grand Regalias. So that is exactly what we're going to do. We're going to forget about that Spirit All Res one, whatever, it is what it is. We got Chaos Res, All Res Life. Now this one is actually not that bad. It does have life on it, which is pretty bad, but at most we'd be able to sell this with 5 sockets on it for like 10 divines from my experience. And it would take a few days to do so, if not a week. It would definitely take a while. But we'll put this one off to the side too, because those are the 2 best outcomes that we've gotten so far. We definitely don't want to just lose all our money from this. This one's bad as well. All attributes, life, mana, again, pretty bad. Global defenses, all res, spirit. Now, this is one of the ones that I was talking about that can be worth a minimum of 50 divines if it has 5 sockets. So we'll set this off to the side. We will divine that, and we'll sort of forget about these 2 now because I only have a limited amount of divines. Chances are I'm going to have to spend all of them actually divining this to be better values. Hopefully we don't have to, but those are, you know, just the probability odds. We'll come here, Chaos Res, Max Life, Spirit. That one's also pretty bad. We'll reforge these 3, Maximum Life, Maximum Mana, Spirit. That one's also pretty bad. So, you know, we'll come in here, we'll just pull more out. We'll go back to the reforging bench, and yeah, we'll keep reforging these. All attributes, Chaos Res, Maximum Mana, pretty bad as well. All attributes, Maximum Mana, reduced critical damage bonus, also pretty bad. We're down to our last few Regalias right now, which is just not looking too good for us. Definitely looking as if we may take a loss here. Chaos Res with global defenses is just bad. Again, most of the time if people are taking global defenses, it's because they have a Chaos Inoculation build. So that leaves us with 3 more Regalias. Maybe we'll set this one off on the side and we'll pull... This is actually one of the good ones we had, but I think I had another Regalia somewhere in here at one point. Is it this one right here? No, it's not. Whatever. We'll just pull this one out. We'll take the gamble on these. We will price check this one. I guess there's always a chance that this could be worth something. Always make sure that you deselect this increased armor and energy shield roll. We'll come through here, 8, 10, 60 with minimum rolls. So this one might actually be worth more than I thought. It might be worth a little bit more than I thought. But this one here, definitely worthless. And same with that one. There's definitely worthless as well. So we'll come through here. We did get one really good Regalia, thankfully. But again, it's costed me 16 divines already. So unless we're able to get a 5th socket on this and divine it perfectly within 34 divines, we have effectively just lost money. I'm hesitant to even divine this at all. We'll come through here. I could have sworn I had another Regalia. Maybe it was already in that tab when I began with. Now, personally, I can't really rest or be happy with having only 2 remaining that I'm not able to reforge. So we are going to try to reforge this. In order to do so, we'll just buy another Regalia. I'm going to try to message someone real quick, see if we can find a Regalia for relatively cheap right now. Maybe I can message the guy I just bought some from. Who knows? These Regalias, like I said, there's a few listings for 1 divine. Most of these people don't message me back. Like there's this guy right here, Isensen. I've been messaging this guy pretty much all day. He wouldn't respond. I really didn't want to pay 1 divine each for Regalias, but that's pretty much what it is. And if these guys don't message me, which I guess they did, and he actually finally messaged me back. He did not message me back at all earlier. So we'll buy one of these. I could have just bought an identified one that is non-corrupted for like 5 or 10 chaos if I wanted to and made this reforging a little bit cheaper, but we'll buy this one here just to sort of see if we can get some value out of identifying it. We'll trade him. Hopefully he accepts this trade. I only want one of them. Hello, sir? Throw this divine in here. I just want one of them, buddy. What is he trying to give me? A dowsing charm? And close out a PoE overlay? Only one, sir. I wanted a million of them earlier and you didn't respond. Okay, there we go. So we're going to get one Regalia here. We'll message him. We'll say thank you. And we'll go back to my hideout. I hope I didn't I just teleported to my guild hideout. This loading screen might take forever. It is what it is. We'll come here. We'll go back to our hideout. We will identify this last Regalia. Hopefully we get like all attributes. Chaos res, all res would be sick. We're going to let the suspense build. We'll look at some of the ones we've already gotten. Like I said, this one isn't really that bad, but you'd have to divine this really to get more value out of it, and I just don't feel like doing it. If it's not divined perfectly, and you get a 5th socket on it, it's basically a perfectly divined one with 4 sockets is the way that you could think about it. Because, for example, if this had 1% more all res, if it went from 6 to 7, that would be 5% more all res per socket, whereas as is like I guess with 5 sockets and 7% all res, it would have 35% all res, but with 6% and 5 sockets, it's only going to have 30%. So you're losing 5%, which is essentially what the socket's giving you anyways, right? So with that being said, we'll come through here. Chaos res, all res, maximum life. Yeah, we'll just hold on to that one. We might be able to get something out of it. The global defenses, like I said, if this had more armor, evasion, and energy shield, and if the all res or the global defenses were rolled a bit higher, I would probably not reforge it. But we did decide to reforge it. We ended up losing. It is what it is. No big deal. No sweat. And we'll come into here. We will start messing with this Grand Regalia here, which hopefully I don't accidentally delete. We have 33 divines. We're looking for 10 spirit and 7% all res with preferably a high global defense roll. I'm hoping to not have to invest that much into this. So as you can see here, it's very, very hard to get one of these to roll very nice. This is 6, 7, 9, not really what we're looking for. We're looking for 10, 7, 10. This is 9, 7, 10, which is about as good as it's going to get. So that took me, about 8 divines right there, 7 divines. But again, that was pretty lucky. On average, to get a roll that good, you'd probably have to spend around 20 to 30 divines. The percent armor, evasion, and energy shield is also very high. And what are we looking for here? We want armor scraps is what we want. Because I am running low and I buy these all the time, but it is what it is. Chaos Orb, Divine Orb, Chaos Orb. Looks like we're paying with Chaos Orbs. Looks to be the best conversion rate. We got 40 of them. We'll quality this. qualityed up to 20. I could divine and quality this one too if I really wanted. I mean, we'll quality it. Maybe we'll divine it just for fun. We'll divine it, we'll say at least 3 times. 7, 37, 6, 7, 33, 7. Yeah, we'll leave it as is, right? I do have an Omen of Corruption already in the guild storage, ready to go, or my own personal stash. This one, 20% quality, 272, 9, 7, 10, not the best, not the worst. And we did not, unfortunately, get the 5th socket. So effectively from this video, I just lost around 30 divines. This is price checks for 4, 5, 10 divines. I did get 11 spirit, which is nice, but unfortunately it just didn't get that 5th socket. And everything else just divined pretty much down to the minimum roll. So this will, like I said, probably sell for around 3 divines. It is what it is. You know, I almost guarantee you that if I corrupt this next Regalia, that we are going to get a 5th socket on it. We'll divine this one a couple more times just because why not? I'm looking for 10 and 7, 9, 26, 7, I guess isn't that bad. We'll stick it out. We'll do this. We will go through here. I have Divine Orb, I have Chaos Orb, 2 for 1. We'll just take the loss on the conversion here, and we will corrupt this and get a 5th socket because that is how Regalias work. Boom, 10% of damage taken recouped his life. This one actually bricked 2, unfortunately, but we'll price check it, and yeah, 3 divine, 6, 7, 10. 1 day ago, so those ones have been listed for a while and they won't sell, so we'll just undercut them. We'll post it for 2. But that is basically the life of Regalias. As you can see, I had 50 divines, which you guys didn't see all of it because I'd already spent some, but we currently have 18, and I didn't get anything of value. I just straight up lost all that currency. Even if we ended up divining and corrupting the 1 Regalia we got, I sold one earlier today that had been up for a few days, but I did sell one 5 sockets that was Global Defense's All-Res Spirit, perfectly rolled earlier today for 55 divines. So that is the most I'd ever expect to get out of this. So even if everything went to plan, we would have only made around 10 divines. And again, there's a few reasons why that is. The big reason is that, as I said, in order to effectively use a Regalia, you need to have a very good helmet, you need to have a very good pair of boots. It all adds up, and yeah, it is what it is. It's unfortunate. We're down a lot of money. Little side note before I end this video. One of my worst traits is definitely that every single time I lose a Gamba in the league, I tend to end up gambling all of the rest of my currency. Truth be told, this game isn't really fun when you're rich. There's been multiple points throughout the league where I've had 300, 600, 900 divines, and every single time that I have a ton of divines, I usually just gamble them. If I lose the gamble, I just gamble what I have. It's why you'll normally see throughout my videos I tend to be broke. I tend to not have any divines. I'm able to farm and get divines very easily, and so I'm not too worried about it. So what you see right here is basically after I finished recording that video and editing it, I decided I would gamble the remaining currency I had left. So I had 18 divines. You'll see here I only had 3 divines to actually divine this Regalia that I bought. This is all attributes, chaos resistance, all elemental resistance. This is obviously the best outcome I thought I would get with the divines that I had remaining. We price checked it. It price checked it around 25 divines as is. Obviously, probably not worth 25 divines, but we are going to go ahead and quality this as well as proceed to corrupt it. Now, this isn't the only Regalia I bought. I found another similar one as well that was listed for, I believe it was listed for around, sorry, I'm getting a message to buy something right now, but it was listed for around 3 divines. So I did go ahead, I bought those 2 Regalias because I had sold an item for around 4 divines. We price checked this Regalia. It is price checked for around 49 divines because the rolls, unfortunately, are not very good. I did list it for 35 divines, which is a very reasonable price, I do believe, because it would help me cut some of the losses that I accrued along this journey, which was, again, very unfortunate, but it happens. It is what it is. There's not much you can do about it. But yeah, like I said, I tend to just gamble away most of my currency throughout the league. And the reason why is just because the game gets boring. If you're not gambling, you know, what are you doing? Right here, I'm just buying some all elemental resistance gems just to kind of pump up the stats and make it look better. Normally, I kind of frown upon people doing this, but again, I posted it for, in my opinion, a very reasonable price compared to the amount of currency that I had to spend. And if anything, this just helps me cut some of my losses. I'm listing it for 48 here, but I did lower the price to 35 eventually. And here's the second Regalia that I decided to corrupt. Now, as you guys can see, this is the Regalia that I bought for 3 divines. All similar listings were around 15 to 20 divines for this Regalia, and the minimum corrupted price was around 50 divines. So hopefully this one's able to sell. I did list this one for 35 divines as well. Again, it's not really divined that well, but obviously the main influencing factor for me deciding to, you know, gamble these additional Regalias towards the end of the video was that I had failed the first 2 corruptions, and it's just very unlucky to fail multiple corruptions in a row for the 5th socket. So all jokes aside, the main reason why I decided to go about this was primarily because I had already failed and I just wanted to cut my losses. So hopefully I'm able to sell these 2 and at the very least break even, if not make a little bit of money. But anyways, I really hope that you guys enjoyed watching the video. Thanks for tuning in. If you liked the video, make sure to subscribe, comment down below, and share it with your friends. I'd really appreciate it. Thanks again, guys. Have a wonderful rest of your day.